And we are live. Not the result we would have liked, lads. Serbia 3, Ireland 2. I'm going to say it wasn't the worst performance in the world. We're joined by Mark, by the way. Mark O'Riordan, Breen Doyle, Keith from Irish Footy Vlogs, Griff and Tiger. We have a few more to get in at some stage as well. But yeah, I don't know who wants to kick us off here, but it wasn't. I feel like it wasn't the worst performance. There were definitely positives to take from it, I think.
I'll start. I definitely think it was positive. Best performance from us since probably the Slovakia game is probably even better than that. But I do think it's an opportunity missed. Like they let a good few players on the bench, some of their best players on the bench. I know they had the quality to bring on and stuff like that, but I think we kind of shot ourselves in the foot the minute Jeff Hendrick came on the pitch. And you can't point the finger at one player. But
what score was it when he came on? What score was it when he came on?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Was it 1-0, wasn't it?
Was it 1-0?
Yeah. I don't think I saw him make a sprint. I don't think I saw him make a good forward pass, something like that. And I mean, at the end of the day, you have to feel bad for Kenny. Like if we have a fit goalkeeper, and then the likes of Howard and then a fit as well, and Hendrick maybe not playing, I think we could have easily won that game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, like in fairness, I said it in the watch along that we were saying it the whole time is he can't give Tadic space on the ball around the edge of the box, and I might be nitpicking a little bit. His cross in for the third goal is a great cross, but Hendrick is standing about, we were saying 5-6 meters from him. Yeah. You know, like it's just close him down. It's that simple. I felt like he was coasting for most of the game when he came on, and I just feel like his career now is almost just coasting towards retirement. That he's just getting a paycheck, and I don't mind to be really, really harsh, but I watch him at Newcastle and I watch him here, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, honestly, he never seems to do anything, and it is disappointing. And not to pin the blame on one player, but I thought he was really disappointing. And then obviously Travers for the second goal has had a nightmare. So
actually, the second goal, the move that led up to the second goal was sort of a secondary phase of play from Hendricks getting skinned in the midfield. And that came about because of that. Like, had he stood up again, as you say, Breen, just stand up to the guy and get close instead of throwing a shape and trying to nick the ball. Just stay up, and that could have prevented the second goal as well. The people are blaming the keeper. I kind of felt with the first two goals we gave away, although the 3-5-2 was quite effective. I think by having the full backs that far up the pitch, it sort of pulled the centre back out a little bit and kind of left him a little bit flat-footed as such. And I think that was sort of the kind of price we pay for playing 3-5-2, is that you don't get that second bite of the cherry. The defender has to get there first. You don't quite have that cover. But I think that's the gamble you take, and some days that goes for you as well. But I thought Hendricks was very poor as well. I have to say, disappointed with some of the deliveries from Brady. We got quite a few opportunities from corner kicks there as well. But I
don't think a single corner beat the first man, does it? I don't remember a corner beat the first man.
We'll go to you, Keith. What were your thoughts on the game?
It wasn't a bad performance, as you said. And I think, as Brian was talking earlier about a process, it is a process. Let's be honest about it. We're trying to change a culture that's been there for forever almost, but certainly the last 3 or 4 managers. And results are important, but at the same time, we can pick up bad results with the last few managers anyway. With McCarthy, O'Neill, who weren't scoring goals, etc., etc. In fairness, Kenny's been very unlucky. I mean, look at the injuries. I mean, the 2 goalkeepers at the start, and you can see how costly he was tonight. And it's not just the lob with Travers; it's just the whole communication defence. I'd say he isn't experienced enough to tell Clark to go here, to tell Coleman obviously to go here, and even Darragh O'Shea. I think there was a lot of disorganisation defence. Clark got beaten for 2 headers that led to a goal. Like, you're not picking at him too much, but he hasn't really played for a while, and people will look and say if Duffy was in the team and all this kind of thing. Maybe not. I don't know. But at least we tried to play football. It wasn't backs to the wall stuff. I mean, I think we commented there in the stream earlier. Like, there was 4 or 5 lads in the box attacking. Like, I mean, that's refreshing, isn't it? At least. We haven't gone there and defended and lost 1 or 2-0 and said, "Oh, that was awful. That was awful to watch." So at least we're seeing something in the process there. Like, to be honest, that Brian was saying earlier, that's happening in underage football. But it takes time for this to get through, doesn't it? Like, at least we're not seeing hoofball. essentially.
100%. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. And like as someone's saying here, it is a frustrating result because, and he's also said was preventable goals. You feel because even the first goal was one where it was kind of like a kind of a chip into the box, and it was like a flick on, and like you feel. You don't want to question the selection, but maybe a Duffy might have dealt with it better. And there's one or two of the goals that you felt like maybe a Duffy in that scenario would have dealt with it better. So yeah, it's definitely a frustrating result, but I feel like the campaign isn't over by any stretch of imagination. I think we can definitely take positives from today, and we can go into the Luxembourg game. It's crucial we go into the Luxembourg game and perform well and beat them. You feel like because we've beaten the likes of Gibraltar and Georgia recently, like 1 and 2-0, where I feel like if we go to the Luxembourg game and beat them by a few goals, it will add a lot to the confidence because I think there was positives to take from it, but we do lack that cutting edge in front of goal. You feel a little bit.
Notably, though, Portugal only beat Azerbaijan 1-0 tonight as well.
1-0, yeah.
Which is terrifying. We have to go away there.
Portugal are never that remarkable in qualifying. I mean, the last qualifying campaign as well. For the Euros, they were very unremarkable and didn't score a lot of goals either. So I think people overhyped them as well. But in qualifying campaigns, they tend to just about do the job. So I mean, we are capable of getting something there as well. I mean, I think it's kind of a mentality thing. We look at the positives and say, okay, we can't beat them. But history has shown in previous competitions that Portugal can be got at in the groups, and now we've no option but to do that anyway. So. It's going to need most really. I think we're all looking for another trip to Luxembourg as well after the COVID's over. So
the next two games. The next 2 games are so vital.
No, absolutely.
Because we've got Luxembourg and then obviously a friendly against Qatar. Then the season finishes and we don't really play a qualifying game again until September. Am I correct in saying that?
September, I think September, yeah.
Yeah, like I said it to Ross on the watch along. I was like, that's a whole new season. Like and the amount of our players who could be playing in different sides, have had a preseason with a different team, have started a new season, could be in a good run of form. It's a long way away. So we need to finish this season as such on a strong showing against Luxembourg and Qatar and say, right, well, we put our best foot forward. Yes, tonight is extremely disappointing to lose in the manner in which we did. But there was positives. I thought we pressed extremely well for the first half an hour until we got a goal. And as Keith said, we got players into the box, which was something maybe that hasn't been happening in the past. But it still goes back to those little kind of individual errors and minor mistakes that we need to cut out of our game. And that's what's costing us.
We got tired of midfield as well, I think. We got tired of midfield and we kind of laughed about it a bit, but Hendrick was poor when he came on, and as he said, he kind of stepped back and he didn't really close down. Expect his energy, he was only on that he'd be able to do that. But that was a problem as well. Our subs didn't really give an impact like their subs did. Their bench was clearly stronger than our bench. But
absolutely. Stacked.
Hugely, I thought. And Josh Cullen did all right as well, but he did tire as well. But you can't make 3 subs in midfield, let's be honest about it. And Connolly done well-ish. Like, he worked hard. He didn't do that special, but he done well to last 8 minutes or whatever. But,
I think we could definitely see.
It's a fine result, but it's not a devastatingly poor result. Like, do you get me?
Yeah,
you could definitely see Connolly was kind of carrying a knock and stuff like that. And as I think I said at halftime, there's always going to be a tough game for him, but did okay. And then the long sub was a good one. Obviously, I was saying as well that he chases everything down. Like he'll give you everything, and he put players under pressure. But just the Hendrick one, it's just so frustrating because I know Malumbi, he runs like a lunatic for 60-65 minutes, but then he does gas out, and you do kind of need to make a change.
Yeah.
Was your bro Jason Knight on side?
Jason Knight, that's the one. Jason Knight's the big one.
Brought Knight on.
Jason Knight on the bench. He was captaining Derby, and you bring on he's such a young player. He wants to make an impression. Yeah, you bring on Hendrick, and he just the first thing he does is put a shitty cross into the box, which is way too short. And you're like, this guy is just he's doing the same as he always does. Like, he doesn't bring any quality. He doesn't drive at the defense. Like, I don't know what he brings. Like, it's just disappointing.
But the Malumbi and Cullen for the first half an hour, they set the tone of the press. And yes, they were running around like lunatics, and you can't do that for 90 minutes. But they really, really did set that tone. We were pushing high. Brown was pushing up. Robinson was pushing up. Conley. We were making it difficult to play through, and we got a good goal. Like, let's be honest. Obviously,
very good goal. The first goal was brilliant.
It was a good move, and then as soon as we conceded, we did kind of step back. We just dropped that 5-10 meters and kind of let, okay, it was kind of like, right, we'll get to halftime on this 1-0. And I was like, well, this probably isn't. We should have pushed forward a little bit more. And that's kind of where the goal came from, is that, the first Serbia goal is that Clark and O'Shea and Coleman in the back three had kind of dropped off a little bit, which gave Tadic a bit more room to push forward. The ball gets played around the corner in a hit and hope manner. And Tadic is in the right area to get there before Clark, because Clark has dropped off. So we just need to watch that. It's typical Ireland. You go a goal up and then you go, okay, well, now we kind of shut up. And yes, that has to be changed over time. That was the disappointing aspect for me.
That was the old habits coming into play there.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a while to iron that out. Some of those players will actually never learn, to be honest, as well, because they're so used to the old habits. So we kind of have a team mixed with players that are trying to get new to the new habits, and these players that aren't going to actually get used to it. So it's a difficult. Like Kenny, I see him as a transitional manager, to be honest with you. We look back probably in a few years and go, look, he played an important role, but he might fail in terms of actually getting us to a tournament. It depends how you see it, really. Like, it really depends how you see it. I think Ross made a point earlier on about kind of Man United, Liverpool type fans, etc. Like, they'll kind of say it's a failure, like, we should be qualified for tournaments, etc., etc. But people see the bigger picture, will look at it differently, like, and we're probably all the same boat in that kind of way as well, to be honest with you.
You don't want to section it off as like League of Ireland fans will see Kenny and give him time. You don't want to section it off as that, but you want it is a case of League of Ireland fans know what he's capable of from watching him over the years with Dundalk and stuff, and it's a case of like he does need time.
Ross.
Sorry?
We're used to being patient as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think as well, if you take that team and you kind of you transplant this team into the next championships when they are all, collectively 2 years older, and they're still just coming to the prime, and they're going to be a lot better. Like, there's no doubting that. Like, we're not an aging team, and we've got that aging factor out. Like, for the last 15 years, we've always had an average age of 32 or something. But now it's coming into its peak, and that's just the initial glimpse of what we're going to be like. So I think in the next and the one after, like, we're going to be better and better and better, and you have to take that from it. Although that is, hoping for the best down the line, but I mean that will come to fruition, I think, anyway. So.
Yeah, looking at the core of the team, it's Travers in goal. Maybe Kelleher probably take the reins from him. Maybe 20, 21, 22. Darragh O'Shea in front of him. Josh Cullen's only 24, Malumbi's 21, 22, Jason Knight's 19, 20, Ida Parrott coming through. Like, the future is very, very bright. And if we keep playing this kind of style of football, I did like the formation tonight. I did think it did suit the players we have available to us. We've all been calling out for the kind of 3-5-2 with Stevens and Doherty as wing backs. Now, Tyke, you've been calling out for that for a while as well. We am kind of not impressed with the overall, but like we the bravery of Kenny was something to see, wasn't it? I think tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I actually really enjoyed watching us. Like, even in the 4-3-3s, it just didn't look comfortable or something like that. Like, when you have Doherty playing right back, he just doesn't know what to do sometimes. Like, he looks like that for Spurs. He looks like that for us as well. I think at the end of the day, we just do lack the quality, though. Like, you could see sometimes we get into positions to whip a ball in, and the ball's just not good enough, and someone's just not good enough to get on the end of it, or that little yard of pace and stuff like that, which is just frustrating. But as Keith has mentioned and Mark said as well, that it'll come with time. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, half these players are under the age of 22. Like,
Yeah.
So I think definitely promising. It's frustrating, obviously, seeing us lose again, and like, I know some of you might remember the World Cups, but like, we were 3 years old, me, Ross, and Griff, when the World Cups happened. Do you know what I mean? So like, we never seen us in a World Cup, really. Do you know what I mean? So it's frustrating for us, but yeah, I don't know.
I think this campaign is going to probably be a bit painful, if I'm totally honest. It's not. I don't see us qualifying, and I think it's going to be a bit of a transitional campaign. But you're right. Everyone's, we're making the same points. There is a lot of positives in terms of the personnel. The one thing maybe I'd worry about is and I spoke about it earlier, was the big difference on the pitch between the two teams was Dusan Tadic. Because he was that player in the number 10 for them that was just some of his little passes, his movement, and the way he got into the space between our midfield to kind of two of Malumbi and Cullen and the back three. It was just gorgeous to watch. He was constantly scanning, looking over his shoulder. Yeah, and that's that little bit of quality. And that's maybe a player. Now, there is an Irish player at Cambridge who's probably capable of doing that. He's nearly 40. He is nearly 40, but that was the thing. And to be fair to Serbia, they were probably
40 years of age. 40
years. Like Serbia were probably worth their win. In fairness, they were they're maybe not the best team in the world, but they were certainly more clinical than us, and the quality they were able to bring off the bench was. Yeah, you can't really compete with that at the moment for us. But no, there's still a good campaign to go, and I think in 10 months' time or whatever it is, we play them in Dublin. Who knows? The game, our team could be totally different. You just don't know. But I do like the system. I think it worked well. You just need maybe a number 10 in there to open up those little spaces and gaps and create the few chances that maybe we're lacking at the moment.
For sure. I might just for briefly just get Griffith Ty. Can I swap one of these for?
I'll head out.
I can drop
I get you back in as well. I get you back in.
No, I don't want to talk about. I don't want to get the next 30 minutes.
Take a pop personally.
I thought I was part of the channel, but it's fine. Like, listen, pleasure.
You weren't here for the live stream. You weren't here for the live stream, so. Right, come on, cheers. That's right. So we'll get
Ross dropped out, did he?
So my first time talking to Keith as well. How you get on, Keith? First time talking to you. We've been chatting over the text quite a bit as well.
How you doing?
Yeah, all good. I love the t-shirt as well.
Ross is back.
Anyway, Socko and Liam. Lovely stuff. Socko, we'll start off with you because Liam was with us for the watch along. Socko, what did you make of the game?
Well, just first of all, I hope the Griffin Tig leaving is not like Malumbi leaving and I'm Hendrick on now. No, he's pretty much covered it all there. I think so many bitterly disappointing, but so many positives to take from the game. As Tig said, I think probably our best performance since Slovakia. I thought Cullen and Malumbi were savage in the double six. Cullen dropping back, almost taking the ball from the centre backs and beginning transitions into play. I thought Alan Brown got the goal, man of the match, well deserved. He was a big threat. Connolly didn't get much of a sniff, but kind of chased everything down. Same with Robinson, as you'd expect they would. Bitterly disappointing, but I'd much rather have that performance tonight than the last 10 or 20 years of going to a place like Belgrade and just grinding out a 0-0, hope to get a goal from set piece. I do agree with Brian. It's probably a transitional campaign. It's gonna be very, very hard to qualify, but I don't mind not qualifying if you see that the stepping stones are there and there's a clear path of progression and improvement.
And by the way, it's clear that the players believe in what Kenny's trying to do as well. That's clear as well. You can just tell by the effort they're putting in and everything. So it's not just, and even some of the senior players are a bit like that as well. So for me, that's great to see as well. Because that's always a bit of a worry, particularly when, let's be honest, Kenny wouldn't be the name that even Mick McCarthy is. So you think of the likes of Duffy and all these big players in the dressing room. But it's clear they're on his side as well. I think that's very important as well, that they can play a role in the future really for Irish football. Because this one's about, in my opinion. I know people say, excuses, etc. We talk about the future all the time, but it really is about the future of Irish football here and getting the proper blend and the proper way of playing. And I'm looking forward to the next few years, to be honest with you.
I think the senior players, though, they're not, in fairness to them, they're not stupid. They're intelligent boys, and they can see this is where football has gone for the past 10 years, and we've been stuck in the very old ways. caveman football in a lot of the ways, and we're screaming out for someone like Kenny to come along and say, no, actually, we're going to implement a plan here. We're going to play nice, try and play nice football and compete football that can compete at a high level, and not just, well, we're going to rough you up a little bit. We're going to kick the ball long and see what happens in the chaos. So they all play it at their club level. Why not play it at international level?
Yeah, I think you're right, Brian. I think that's why Hendricks struggles as well, because when it comes down to pure football, I don't think he has the tool set to to add to that dimension of the team, where he's more of a sit-in player, block, win a few headers, get a few tackles in, and just do the slogging work. But when it comes to playing a game of pace, where you have to get the ball out of your feet and move it quickly and go and get it again, is just not in his makeup at all. And I think that's why he particularly is found out again. But we talk about Cullen there, what Saka was saying, getting the ball and actually picking a pass, knowing before he gets where the ball is going to go, playing a little one-touch pass through in the midfield. We haven't seen that for a long time. And I think if you got him and maybe Jack Byrne in together as well, I think that would make us even more creative. So I think we do have that ability there to score from play, which we saw tonight, which maybe we thought we didn't have before. But the signs are good there as well, that we can create chances.
I'm not making more excuses, but if you really think about it, we had at least 5 dead-on starters missing tonight. So all things considered, playing against the likes of Mitrovic, Jovic, multi-million-pound players, obviously Travers in goal as well. I'm dead proud of that performance tonight, to be honest. But really disappointing some of the goals, obviously the Travers goal, Clark being beaten to the header as well. But I sound like a broken record, but there is a lot of positives to take from that performance.
For sure.
Win on Saturday though. It's vital we win on Saturday, because
100%.
Yeah. It's not be funny if you don't win on Saturday, the knives will actually be out.
100%.
Early in the campaign, so a win on Saturday is vital now.
I think it has to be a win in the right way. It has to be won comprehensively as well. If it's just a 1-0, get over the line, I don't think that's enough for a lot of the fans. I think we need to beat them well. So that's it. Kind of calls into question: can you go with the kind of similar 3-5-2, 5-3-2 formation against the Luxembourg, or will he go back to his kind of 4-3-3? It's difficult to know. I do think Brady will start against Luxembourg because he didn't start tonight. I think against a low block, I think a Brady type player could be crucial in terms of kind of maybe creating a chance or breaking the lines kind of thing. So it's going to be interesting to see what lineup he goes with against Luxembourg.
That's a pity we don't have Wes Hoolahan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Off the side, he struggled to get into the team for years, but he's there now, 25, 26, 27, 28. He'd actually be walking into that team, wouldn't he?
Absolutely. 100%.
We do miss that. I don't think Brady's even as good as that, if you get me. I think Brady said earlier, we definitely lack a player like that, even a player half decent like that. Brady, I don't think he's close to used to be. He keeps getting injuries as well. It's a difficult one for us in that way. What manager you have, you still have that issue. So so we have to win.
It's probably not totally bizarre or absurd to say that you could still bring on Hoolahan for 20 minutes, even in a game like tonight, and he could probably just sit there and dictate a bit of play and create something and retain possession. He is 38 or whatever, he is 39, but there are guys out there doing that, at European level, and by all accounts, he's the fittest man at Cambridge, and he can still get around, and he's still got a bit of pace about him, but he has the ability to do what we need to do in that situation and slow the game down and retain the ball. And if we can't get in, we have to get a player that can do that, especially at that phase of the game where Tadic was dictating the play, and that's when you really need to catch your breath and get somebody who can take the sting out of the play. We're probably
for 5-10 minutes, just kill the game for 5-10 minutes. That's what you need.
Yeah, sure.
Touching on, I don't want to touch on it, but it will of course be a talking point. You don't want to dig him out too much because it was a tough night for him. There's questions and marks about him for the first goal, which I thought was harsh. For the second goal, it's fair to probably have a question mark around him. Mark Travers tonight, the chip from Mitrovic. good finish, but like I think if you have a Randolph, if you have maybe a Kelleher in there, that doesn't go in. You don't want to dig them out. I hate having to go with goalkeepers, but it is the reality of the situation where
it's a really hard one because like he's coming in off his loan being cancelled and everything. He's gone back to Bournemouth. He hasn't got game time. He hasn't really, like, you know what I mean? He hasn't played much football. You can't really expect him to come in to a World Cup qualifier and kind of not make a mistake. And he's still young as well. Remember, he's still young. He's still learning his trade. You can't really like Randolph. Okay, Randolph wouldn't have made that mistake. Fair enough. But this guy is one for the future. And if we're going to be giving Kenny time, you can't really just be like chucking him under the bus either. But also, I also think Alan Brown has gone very much under the radar for me. He's very underrated for Ireland, I think, personally.
Yeah, just going back to the goal, I think it's possibly a bit too easy to just say Randolph would have got that or Kelleher would have got that. Like we've all seen top keepers in good form makes the same kind of mistakes. Richie Sadlier made a good point at full time that in his first competitive game for Ireland, he made a slight mistake, and 95% of the time the striker puts that over or into the keeper's hands or wide. 5% of the time you get cruelly punished, and that's what happened tonight. He doesn't need anyone to say that to him. He'll know that more than anyone.
Well, wasn't it? It was a cracking finish.
It's a great finish.
100%.
I think Liam's point is
an error, like, but it's a mistake positionally, but it's not like a fumble or something like that, you know.
Yeah, but I think Liam's point is correct that he has been thrown in at the deep end here because the two keepers ahead of him are injured and we have no alternative really. He could play Bazunu, but Bazunu's only probably played a bit more football this season than him, but this is his first camp with the senior team at all, so it probably would have been too soon for him. And he does deserve another chance with Ireland, absolutely, in the future. And it is only one game, and you take every game, to quote John Giles, on its merits. But in saying that, it is an extremely poor piece of goalkeeping. And as Ross said, you don't want to dig out goalkeepers, but the decision-making in that moment, it has to be better. Because when the pass is played through to Mitrovic, where is he going? Like, where is Travers going? Like, there's no immediate, absolute, I had to go out and set the ball here. He's still 20, 30 yards out. He's not actually going, he'd have to take a touch, defenders can get back, and then you've set yourself up to make the save. But he starts to go, and then he thinks, oh shit, what am I doing? Stops, and then he has no idea. He loses himself entirely. He has to, and he'll know this going forward himself, he has to say, right, if I'm going, I'm going. If I'm not, I'm staying, and I'm setting myself up for whatever's about to happen in the next phase. But that comes from experience. And at the moment, Randolph is obviously, a vastly experienced goalkeeper playing in the Premier League, on the bench at the moment, but is with the Premier League side. Kelleher has had Champions League and Premier League experience this season and is working day in, day out with one of the best goalkeepers in the world, in one of the best teams in the world. So I don't think I think Soccer was right in saying it. You can't just say, oh, well, they would have saved it or they would have done this. But I don't think they would have made the same decision that Travers made there at the point of that pass being played through.
It was a bit panicky, I thought, all evening, to be honest with you. I don't blame him for that. That's the point. It's nobody's fault. His third choice as such goalkeeper, possibly fourth. Only for Westwood said he wasn't doing it with the squad. And he was just thrown into the deep end. It's very simple. And he panicked, I think, at that moment as well. He just something went through his head and he just lost himself.
Yeah, he did have one or two kind of like half scares, I think, that corner, and he was a bit reluctant coming out to one or two balls in the second half. And I think it's also important to note that just before half-time, he made a top save. It was a tight angle, but it was heading in. He stood up well. I think came off his arm. But he'll have his first cap under his belt now, and just hopefully a quieter performance from him on Saturday.
Well, could you imagine if Bazunu made that mistake? You know what I mean? Like that guy's confidence would have been completely shot. You know what I mean? So It's not. He was completely thrown in the deep end, Mark Travers, and it was kind of sink or swim. And I actually think he did a decent performance for his first proper cap. You know what I mean? So you
Yeah,
can't,
I think overall, I think you're right there, Liam. I think overall, I think his mistakes were more positional and misjudging of the flight of the ball and his position, as opposed to like traditional handling and goalkeeping and such with his feet or with his hands. That part of it was quite good. Like he didn't fumble, he didn't drop anything, but just judging the flight of the ball and his own position. And I think that was kind of hesitancy born from a lack of familiarity with his own back line. And maybe he felt, okay, well, listen, I'm only a new goalkeeper. Let the defence take care of that. I'm going to stay where I am. Or I don't think he's going to score from there. I'll just stay where I am. Things like that. So I think it was just maybe a little bit of experience, mixed in with a bit of rustiness for not playing. But I thought, like, in terms of his kicking and handling, he didn't do a whole lot wrong in that aspect of it. So there are positives from his perspective. But obviously, the mistake for the second goal was a killer, from our point of view. And he definitely learned from that because, I think he knew the minute the ball got to the Mitchell's feet, oh God, he's going to chip me and I can't get back. But
unbelievable execution
myself before it happens.
Like, what a goal, in fairness. Like, if that happens against any other team, like, and not Ireland, you go, that was unbelievable, regardless what the goalkeeper brought. It is incredible. Almost world-class execution. But it's just disappointing that we're looking at this from we've conceded that goal.
Even Travers is kind of going back. You felt like he could have even tipped it. It's real strange looking back at it. I might need to see it again, but it looks strange that he could have possibly tipped it out. Like, it was just a weird.
It's a bit what I said. He had no idea where he was. He really didn't. As soon as he made that first move, and then he stopped and kind of went to take a step back, he just lost wherever he was in the box, and he hasn't got time to look around because Mitrovic is lobbing him from fucking 40 yards. He just lost himself entirely, and I think he's just dived back. And in fairness, it's not a bad, he's tried to recover as quick as he can, but once the ball is over your head, you're in no man's land. Not to take on someone in your comments, but there is a comment that it's the top one there. It's on a League of Ireland fan, Delaney removing the coaching structures across Ireland 10 years ago was paying the price. I agree with that part. The second part, Kenny has not the respect of the players he's assembled. That's nonsense. Pure and simple, absolute nonsense. It's clear from the way the players are speaking to the press that, especially after the incident, before with the video and all, it's just not true. They really, really believe in the project and they want it to be successful. And I don't really think, regardless of who is in the squad, they all have the same forward-thinking mentality. So I don't agree with that comment at all.
What's frustrating is there's a lot of fans who actually want him to fail. That's the thing that annoys me. Regardless who the manager is, I don't care if it's Trapp, Kenny, Martin O'Neill, there is a cohort out there that want him to fail. It's so frustrating, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I don't get it.
It's part of Irish culture. I don't think it's to do with Irish football. It's a kind of begrudgery of, and you kind of say, well, why do you want him to fail? I don't know. People genuinely couldn't probably explain why they wanted to fail. They just do, There's probably people that have a vested interest with the FAI and within the media and stuff, and I appreciate that. But it's within all of us, really. You see someone doing well, and you're like, what a prick.
I think it was the first time in a long time where we actually saw an Irish team play away from home against what you kind of call a tier 2 team, and not being played through the middle, not being overrun through the middle. I mean, they did have a period after about 65 minutes for a while, as we spoke about, where they did, ping the ball around, on the edge of our box and stuff, but they weren't bursting through us for the whole game. And I think that goes back to what Breen says. That shows that the players are buying in, that the players are trying. You can see them. They're they're talking to each other. They're telling each other where to go. They're moving across in the line. They're not getting. They're not crossing each other. So they understand what their job is, and they're totally buying into it. I feel, and they believe in the system, and that's borne up by the fact that they weren't getting overrun in midfield, whereas you've seen better Irish teams getting overrun and the ball coming right through the centre of them and not being able to stop it. But I thought we did it quite effectively until we got tired and didn't have the bench to back it up.
Also the first time in 3.5 years we've scored 2 goals away from home. So,
Yeah. It felt great to celebrate a goal from open play, to be honest with you. It did feel really good. Because the whole last year, I think it was only the Duffy header, wasn't it? So yeah.
Actually, that's an interesting point. Sorry, like me and you, Ross, spent most of the game just watching Liam react to the game in real time. But like honestly, watching Liam's reactions to things, the kind of things you almost like, stopped having watching Ireland. There's a few times Liam was watching something all live that we were seeing like a minute later that. It was going, oh, go on. Yeah, there's a chance here. That was just the last, I don't know, year, obviously in 2020 watching Ireland.
Yeah.
I can only really recall 2 incidents against Slovakia. The Hurren one was cleared off the line that I really went, oh my God, got out of your seat. There was no exciting attacking football, and they're starting to build that. Obviously needs to create more chances, but there is an element of that was, and it's been touched on, much more enjoyable to watch than any other Irish performance in a long time.
For sure. Before we jump into looking at a few of the comments, if you can drop a like on the stream, it is much appreciated. And if you can subscribe as well, that is also greatly appreciated. We have one here from James Duggan saying, would you make any changes for the Luxembourg game?
Yes. I play nice, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think Conley either, to be honest. I don't think he'll start.
I don't.
Conley, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And other than that, I was quite happy with the 11. I'd like to see the 11 go out. Maybe have Knight in there, maybe instead of Brown, but it depends on kind of the fitness situation of the players. Obviously, Malumbi hasn't played too much football in the last while, so what will his legs be like? Connolly as well. So I personally would like to see Knight come in and maybe Shane Long, just to it's not probably the most sexy of substitute of players to come in, but not in terms of looks. He's a good looking fella. But I just think in terms of maybe freshen up the team a little bit, and then having Connolly maybe off the bench against a tired defense probably something good. But I think Knight is probably for me the player who's probably a bit more creative on the ball in the times that I've seen him, that will be able to break open a low blocker or whatnot, whoever Luxembourg are going to set up, really.
Brady,
for sure.
I think we might need a change or two in midfield because of the work rate to put in tonight. I think we'll have tired legs there. Would Hendrick come in? That'd be the question. Hopefully not. I don't want to dig him out all the time, but no, seriously, I don't think he auditioned himself well tonight either. Come on, so no. We could see Knight come in there. Could happen there. We'll have to see though. It's difficult. Like, I definitely go to 3-5-2 again, just to keep the same system in place. I think he will do that, Kenny, as well, and hopefully 8 or 9 players to start anyway.
What do you do, Keith, with the goalkeeper situation on Saturday? If we're left with the same 2, would you go Bazzuno, or stick with?
No chance. Travers 100%.
Because you're trying to communicate with the defense as well. You're bringing Bazzuno. You're starting again there as well. Like, I think Travers has to start.
Bazzuno get a game Tuesday against Qatar. Like, there's no reason.
I think they might give him a game then. Yeah, might give him a run. Probably have a similar enough team to tonight. Probably our strongest team, especially going forward. The wing backs can get in behind Luxembourg, hopefully. Probably agree with Breen there. Probably play Knight, give him a game. But other than that, like, I can't see Connolly might have picked up a knock.
Maybe Shane Long or something.
Brown said he was pretty dead on his feet as well. But other than that, like, I'd pretty much keep it. I think he'll keep the same formation as well. I think that's probably something to build on.
You go Collins or Long?
I'll probably go Long. Probably,
Probably Long.
Well, Collins scored. In fairness, Collins did get a goal.
I can kind of see him. I can kind of see him bringing his the 3 subs he made in the 79th minute. Obviously, Brady, McLean, and Collins. I think they could have a big part to play in Luxembourg.
Yeah. I just think fit at all though. I think he hasn't played for the last 6 weeks or something for Stoke. Like, I don't know.
Just looking at him there for like the last 11-10 minutes, I think you could kind of just see the quality that Brady and McLean had, and that's kind of where the goal came from. Really, that we were just kind of getting down the left.
Yeah, for sure. We have a few comments coming in. Travers has the skill, just the experience is lacking. That will come. I think he'll be a big player for us in years to come. Possibly. I think Kelleher will probably take the number 1 shirt moving forward, probably, if he's fit. Josh Cullen was unreal, someone's saying. I was impressed with Josh Cullen. I thought him and Malumbi, first half in particular, were very energetic and got around the pitch well. So was quite impressed with that. People saying Travers will learn. Of course he will. He'll come back. He'll come back stronger after that. And I think you're right in saying that he will probably start on Saturday. Because there's no point in changing it up now. I think Kenny came into this game knowing that Travers was his number 1 with all the injuries that had taken place. So I don't think Knight will have changed his minds. But yeah, you never know. But I don't think it's Knight.
No, I think ultimately
I put my house on Travis starting on Saturday. Like, I don't think.
Yeah, I think ultimately Travers will end up as third choice, to be honest, behind Kelleher and Bazunu in years going forward, and depending on whatever Randolph, how long Randolph plays. But in saying that, you know, as I said, we're throwing this lad in the deep end, and we're saying we need you to go out and perform at a level that is probably just above the level you're currently at, and. You know, I can't ask for more than him. Like, I'd rather him than me. I would have been absolutely shiting there today, and I think so many would. It is very easy for us to sit here, and me particularly have been quite critical of him. But in fairness, he stood up and he did his best, and he came up a bit short in parts, but can't ask for more. In fairness,
I think Darryl Horton could be one that will feature on Saturday for some part of the game
possibly,
as well.
Possibly.
I think he's got an assist in him there somewhere, and they might bring him on for it. Probably not starting, but I can see him playing half an hour, especially with 5 substitutes. No,
would you play him up top or as right wing back?
Probably play him up top, on the left hand side.
Yeah, it's interesting. Darryl Horgan could definitely get a game. It's just I feel like he's not suited to playing up top, or he's not really a wing back either. It's kind of, if it has to be a change of formation to get him in, wouldn't it? I think it's a weird one. We'll finish off tonight's stream with a goal scoreline prediction for the Luxembourg game. We'll start off with Mark.
I think we're going to go and play expansively against them, to be honest. So I'm going for, but I think we will concede one. I'm going for 3-1.
3-1, yeah. Breen?
My heart says we'll win 4-0 and it'll be a really good performance, but my head says it'd be an okay performance with good moments and a few patchy moments, and probably win 2-0.
2-0, yeah. Keith?
Yeah, I think 1-0, something like Breen as well. I think it might be tight. It'll be a nervy win, but we just need the 3 points. Very simple. 1-0.
Yeah. Lima?
I'm going to go 2-1. I just think our players, like up front and stuff, just have pace and stuff, and you can kind of see the way Kenny wants to play, kind of press from the front, kind of catch them on the break, and it'd be nice. I just think 3 points is really what we need.
That's all that counts. Yeah, Socko.
3-0, and I'll book the flights to Qatar there and
then. we have Griff here as well. I might just throw Socko out for a sec. If that's all right. Is it all right with you?
Drop me out.
Drop me out because I haven't been out yet.
I've been here for hours. So.
We already got so be fine. All right, Griff.
I wasn't actually expecting to come
back.
Just people in the comments for the last half an hour.
Sorry there. So instead of get your prediction for the Luxembourg game, may as well.
My prediction. I'm going to go with 2-0 Ireland. I don't know who's going to score. That's just a random prediction off the top of my head. I say 2-0 Ireland. I don't think we'll concede. Fuck it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll probably go 2-0 Ireland as well.
I was just distracted. I wasn't expecting to come back in here. I was.
Yeah.
What's your prediction, Chris?
I saw you the
huge ass
in the lobby. So I saw you in the lobby, so I said to get you back in. But do appreciate everyone joining in for the 3 streams tonight. Keith from Irish Footy Vlogs, make sure to go check out his channel. Class content under League of Ireland on a regular basis. Liam, big thanks to you for coming through with all the streams. Breen, of course, as well, from the starting 11 all the way through as well. Much appreciated. Mark, thanks so much for joining us. And Griff, joining in at the last second. I think we have Tyke here as well.
Absolutely brilliant.
I might try to get Ty again for his prediction on Liam. Do you mind if I just?
Yeah, no, work.
Cheers, nice one.
See you later.
Ty, we'll get your
rotation there, lads.
Before.
I say 3-0 Ireland. I'm very confident after that performance. I think 3-0.
3-0 Ireland. Yeah.
Victory anyway for anyone.
What?
Not for Luxembourg anyway.
No, yeah.
I actually think we shouldn't do predictions after our weekly ones. What did we get? I think most of the lads only got one right. I think.
You finished top with soccer. I think. Yeah.
Two right.
I did really well in that anyway. Like,
yeah, solid 2 out of 5. Like,
yeah,
I got 0 out of 5. Like.
70 likes is what we're saying. We're probably way off it, but listen, people might be rewatching it, so we'll say 70 likes. It is much appreciated. Just want to thank you all again for joining us. Everyone on the stream, everyone watching
the Serbians as well. A good few Serbians.
Good few Serbians actually. Few Serbians.
Yeah, go on.
The game wasn't.
That's my goat.
Yeah.
The game wasn't being shown like on free to air TV in Serbia. So they're all coming in during the game asking us where we were watching the game. We're like, on TV. Why? Where is it for you?
Turn your camera around. We'll show us the match. Like, yeah. But big thanks again to you all, lads. Appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time.
No bother. Cheers.
Cheers.
Nice one, lads.
Cheers.
Pleasure.